On the night of June 12th, 2021, the YouTube and TikTok community gathered around to witness arguably one of the most interesting and entertaining influencer boxing events to date. The event, which was hosted by Social Gloves, was riddled with both memorable and controversial moments. And with this big night of an event, we gotta now look at what has happened since then with it and all of the fighters on the card. This is YouTubers versus TikTokers 1 year later.
Sniper kids all day. They asked me how I started, Fortnite how I came.
So for the first fight on the pay-per-view, we had the YouTuber FaZe Jarvis go up against the TikToker Michael Lee. The fight would end in the second round when Jarvis hit Michael with a hard right, knocking him down and giving him the KO victory. After this dominating win, Jarvis went on to release a new clothing line, dropped a video talking about the fight and his win, and everything was going well for him until...
Save the kids token.
Save the kids token.
Save the kids token.
Jarvis will get coerced by his brother FaZe K to promote a questionable crypto that claimed to be charitable, but ended up just being a rug pull and a scam. At first, there wasn't really any attention towards Jarvis and the gang promoting the crypto, until the YouTuber CoffeeZilla exposed the project, putting the bigger focus and attention on FaZe K. CoffeeZilla's coverage of the story would gain major traction and eventually get FaZe Clan's attention, in which they then responded by dropping this announcement on Twitter, stating, "We have made the decision to remove K from FaZe Clan and have suspended Jarvis, Nikon, and Tico until further notice." Jarvis will go completely silent on social media for the following months, from July all the way up to November, which was when we saw him return to YouTube with this video where he briefly explained what he had been up to since then.
You might as well tell them what's going on with your life now, bro.
I mean, yeah, ever since my fight, things have changed. I kind of came back to the UK and started being my old self again, just doing stuff, you know, that I enjoy. You know, coming back to the UK really made me realize how much YouTube have really consumed my life, and you know, that's all I've been doing. And I kind of just wanted to come back and you know, be my old self, just be the old Jarvis, you know.
The rest of the video was pretty much just a skit of him trying to get a real life job, as he was now clanless and hadn't been uploading to YouTube at that time. Now, while Jarvis was only suspended from FaZe Clan and not completely kicked out, it seemed likely that he was going to return to the group, but he will squash those expectations when he uploaded this video titled "Why I Left FaZe Clan," in which he stated that his brother K getting completely kicked from FaZe will lead to him making the decision to leave the organization.
Pretty much what happened is I was on a call with Darren and Vera, and I told them, you know, I would love to join back FaZe. You know, obviously I love FaZe, but for me right now, it's weird for me because I don't want to be a part of FaZe if like you're not in FaZe as well.
Yeah.
I am no longer in FaZe. It is just Jarvis now. It's no FaZe Jarvis. This isn't like the end of me in FaZe. Like, who knows what could happen in the future.
Now, throughout this whole situation, there was this Dubai YouTuber called Money Kicks out there, whose father has a net worth of about a couple $1 billion. You'll see why I mentioned that in a bit. So like I was saying, there was this Money Kicks guy who hosted these two influencer boxing events called Social Knockout and Social Knockout 2, where he was the main event of both cards, and in both fights he won. But the vast majority of people that saw those fights are under the impression that his wins were bought out, as the fights didn't seem legitimate at all. But either way, after Money Kicks won his first fight, he went on to call out Jarvis.
Is there anyone you're calling out? FaZe Jarvis, I want you next.
Jarvis would respond to Money Kicks on several different platforms and try to work out a fighting deal with Money Kicks behind the scenes, but it would be clear that Money Kicks didn't actually want to fight Jarvis because of the legitimacy of the fight.
You know, this guy's just using me for my followers and has no interest in actually stepping in the ring with me. This is one of them guys that will call you out but never actually fight you unless it is fixed.
All in all, while Jarvis has expressed interest in boxing again, he hasn't been able to find anybody else that is willing to go at it with him. As for his YouTube, aside from him getting hacked and then banned off the website for a little bit just recently, his channel has been doing pretty well for itself. Now, as for what his former opponent Michael Lee has been doing, he has been continuing to post on his TikTok and also a couple of YouTube videos here and there. Michael would turn out to be one of the people that didn't get paid for fighting in the YouTubers versus TikTokers event, as he would then later on sue Austin McBroom for that, since Austin was pretty much behind Social Gloves. But we'll get into the Austin lawsuits later on in this video. In the meantime, Michael has been continuing to do his own thing on social media, along with other pretty cool things like appearing in the background of his scene in the Spider-Man No Way Home movie, and even recently launching a gaming startup platform called Joystick, where $8 million has been raised for it, with the platform's objective stating that they want to empower users to become pro gamers or content creators in the Web3 space by giving them the opportunity to keep 100% of the revenue earned. The startup is now also aiming to raise a $110 million Series A funding round, so even though Michael took a humbling loss to Jarvis, he has been doing pretty well for himself since then. And as for what he had to say about getting into a boxing ring again in the future,
hey, I'm happy about the experience. I hope you guys enjoyed just the journey, and hope you guys were entertained me getting knocked down. Next time, and there will be next time, I promise you guys that I'm gonna be ready. So,
and from there we can now move on to the next fight that happened on the card.
Rose gold Prezi, that's like 50K. I can make
make $1 million on a busy day.
DDG versus Nate Wyatt went the full distance, and the judges collectively agreed that DDG won the fight, giving him the unanimous decision victory. DDG basked in the victory that night, and on the following morning released his music video titled The iCarly Freestyle, where it even featured Austin McBroom.
Brody got away because he slid with a COVID mask. I'd fuck iCarly if I had a chance.
The complete joyness of DDG getting the boxing win would only last a couple of days, as on the 15th of June he would go on to upload this video onto his vlog channel titled I Retire, where he essentially just said that he wasn't going to be doing regular YouTube videos anymore, as he now just wanted to fully pursue his music career.
I'm at a point now where, well, I already told y'all, I warned y'all, I already told y'all that I was quitting YouTube after my fight. And reason being is because I really want to lock in and focus on music. It's something that I'm extremely passionate about. I really got something going with this music stuff, and I just want to put my full attention and full dedication to it, you know.
And what came along with this video was DDG also privating all of his vlogging channel's uploads. Now with this, many of his fans were saddened to see this happen, as they would have liked for him to continue doing YouTube, or at the very least leave off most if not all of his videos on the channel. DDG seemed to have taken note of his audience's request to come back, as he would eventually address the situation in August with a new video, where that would get subsequently followed by his return to making more videos, and now ever since he's been back. He's been continuing to post content on that vlogging channel and has been doing the same thing with music on his DDG account as well, both of which are being met with great support from his fans and newcomers alike. And as for him getting back in the ring again while talking about potentially fighting this rapper named Tusi, DDG stated that aside from that, he's not really looking forward to getting in the ring again unless it's like a big official event. And that's where we end off with DDG. Now what has happened to his opponent, Nate Wyatt? Weeks after his loss in the fight, Nate will go on to upload a video addressing whether or not he will be competing in a boxing match again, where he had this to say.
People keep asking me, am I going to fight again? I don't know. A part of me wants to, just to, you know, prove myself and show what I'm capable of. And the other side of me is like, yo, Nate, you like put your whole life on hold for boxing. Go back to like what you actually do in life, which, you know, is acting and music.
After this video came out, everything seemed well with the relationship that Nate had with the YouTubers versus TikTokers events, but then just a few months later it will be revealed that Nate will be in a lawsuit against Austin McBroom, where fighters were claiming that they hadn't gotten paid yet. Nate will put out this statement on Twitter that read out, "Unfortunately, this past week my attorney Bobby Samini filed a lawsuit against Social Gloves. It's been almost 2 months since our boxing events and we still haven't been paid, including our trainers, etc. Hoping Social Gloves does the right thing and fulfills its obligations to all involved." With them posting the screenshot showcasing the lawsuit at hand. With this going on in the background, Nate has just been back to posting regularly on his TikTok with the occasional YouTube videos. So with all of that being noted, let's now move on to the next fight that happened that night. Deji's return to the boxing ring was one of the most hyped up things about the event, as the last time we saw him fight was about 3 years prior with his match against Jake Paul. Expectations were high for Deji in this new fight against the TikToker Vinnie Hacker, but as everybody knows the story now, Deji had gassed out by the 3rd round and the fight had gone stopped to give Vinnie the round 3 TKO victory. The very next day, Deji would upload a short but to the point video where he talked about the fight, his disappointment, and how he was going to take a break from social media to focus on becoming a better boxer for when he returned to the ring once again.
So obviously with my fight, unfortunately I took an L. I want to say congrats to Vinnie Hacker. I don't want to talk too much because actions speak louder than words. I'm going to be taking a break from social media and I'm just going to be working on myself because I do want to box again.
While Deji's fans were supportive of him in a positive way, his brother KSI would kind of go the opposite route, where in a tough love manner he showed his disappointment of Deji in a video.
Deji, man, how the hell have you managed to look worse in your redemption fight? You were the only YouTuber to lose in the whole card. You've officially become an easy stepping stone. People would happily fight you now. Your big credible name to boost an opponent's career, and you're an easy fight.
Of course, like I said, KSI did show support, as that is his brother at the end of the day. And while some believe that Deji would have maybe taken that video the wrong way, Deji will prove otherwise, as he would then upload a video with KSI where they briefly talked about the fight, among other things related to boxing, in a positive manner. And from there, Deji went on to take his social media break up until he returned to YouTube in the month of December with this video titled Redemption, where it showed footage of him training with audio of people talking critically about him in the background, and then ending it off with this visual stating, "One last last chance. An announcement would soon get made that he would be main eventing this new YouTube boxing event from Showstar, where his opponent will be longtime rival Alex Wasabi. Deji and Alex will have the traditional boxing promotion build-up with the press conferences, weigh-in, face-to-face, and so on, with Deji even claiming throughout that if he lost this fight against Alex, he would quit boxing.
Are you gonna fight again, even if you lose?
No.
Really?
I'm not fighting.
This is it?
If I lose, I'm not fighting.
No way. Yeah. Why? You did all the work.
That's more pressure on your shoulders.
Yeah, that's a lot of pressure.
It's like guided pressure in the sense that it's pushing me to want to do the work. If I was to lose, then clearly this sport isn't for me because I'll be 0-3.
When fight night came around on March 5th, both fighters will go all 5 rounds and Alex will be declared the winner via split decision. With this loss, many assumed that Deji would call it quits right here for boxing, but then, just like his previous fight against Vinnie, Deji will go on to upload a video the very next day after the Alex fight. In the video, he talked about the fight and his performance, how the new coach he has is great for him now, and how he was going to continue the sport of boxing, even though he claimed that his fight with Alex will be the last one if he lost.
Yeah, I failed 3 times. But I'm not stopping. I'm gonna carry on boxing and I'm gonna get a victory. And you know what? Because of my figure and how much influence I have, I see this as part of my legacy. I don't wanna be someone who quits. I'm gonna show you, no matter how many times you get beat, you can still pick yourself back up and win.
And with that video right there, that is where we end off with Deji. Now as to what has happened with his victorious opponent, Vinnie Hacker. Since then, Vinnie after the fight tweeted this picture of him with Deji in the ring with the caption, "Like I said, nothing but respect for this young man. It was an honor." And then when more and more people were criticizing Deji and making fun of him later on, Vinnie would come out and say, "For real though, Deji doesn't deserve the fucking hate, man. Chill on, bro. Dude actually fucking came out going for the kill. He's skilled. Give him credit where it's due. I don't want to see any fucking shaming." This would appropriately gain a lot of respect from the Deji community, and from there, we didn't really hear anything new from Vinnie. He continued to post on TikTok, stream on Twitch, and uploaded the occasional YouTube videos on his channel, all while continuing to be a part of the Hype House group. He did have some controversies happen to him, I guess. You know, the type that cancel culture freaks out over. Like there was one where he read out a name so quick that it sounded like the N-word, but it was clear that he didn't really say it. Then another one of these controversies that happened was when he had to come out and say that he actually supported Obama, after people were saying that they thought he supported Trump. It wasn't all controversies for Vinnie though, throughout the year up until now. He has done some pretty notable and big things in the meantime, with the biggest accomplishment perhaps being that while growing his presence on social media, he managed to grab Nate Shot's attention, and that would then subsequently have Vinnie join the 100 Thieves organization. And the final thing that we're going to touch on with Vinnie here is his thoughts on getting back into the ring again.
Did you like it, by the way? Were you like
do you think you're going to box again?
That's hard to say, really. I mean, like, if I want to do another fight, I'm going to have to give up, like, sort of what I'm doing right now. In my thoughts, I don't know if I could, like, mentally, like, do that again with throwing all the stuff that I have right now out the window.
And that's where we end off with both Deji and Vinnie. Now let's go on to the co-main event.
I'm gonna roast him for everything that he's got. The next time you mention my name, put some respect on it.
The fight between Giv and Tayler Holder will come down to the judges' scorecards at the end, and after witnessing Giv's pure domination throughout the rounds against Tayler, many had assumed that Giv would be announced the winner here. But to the surprise of everybody watching, we would instead get this announcement.
The combined scores put the bout in favor of a majority draw.
What?
Immediately, we got tons of reactions from the community disagreeing with the decision. KSI would come out and tweet about it, and so would Keemstar, saying that it's BS. And Mr. Beast would even come out and agree with these two tweets. Giv immediately after would tweet out, "I won and they robbed me," and then ask how, as he showed a picture of the final punch stats between him and Tayler. As to what Tayler Holder had to say for this situation, he just went on to make an Instagram story where he said that he didn't agree with a draw, and that Giv was throwing a bunch of punches, but that he blocked those, and also how the nerves had got to him in front of that crowd. It was kind of ambiguous as to what Tayler thought that the result should have ended up being, but for now we'll just end off with Tayler for right there, because this other thing happened that night that got a lot of people's attention before that majority draw announcement was made, and that was that the official Social Gloves Twitter account tweeted out, "Tayler Holder defeats a Nissan Gibb," which was then followed by them immediately deleting the tweet and issuing a new one that read out, "Correction, a Nissan Gibb versus Tayler Holder ends in a draw." This mishap ended up raising suspicions about the event and brought up conspiracies that would say that Social Gloves wanted Tayler to win the fight, and that will play a part into what Giv wanted to do next in terms of fighting, but we'll get to that in a bit. In the morning following the fight, Giv would upload a video onto his channel where he spoke about his match and how he knows that he should have been the winner.
They tried to kick me when I was down. I just want to say I told you I'd whoop his ass. Everyone said that I was going to lose versus Tayler Holder. I whooped him. For every round after round after round, I want this body shot head. He felt it. And he knew he'd lose. He went to bed knowing that he lost.
This video, of course, will get a lot of support, and with the online community feeling that Gib got robbed, Keemstar went out of his way to get to the bottom of this situation and try to right the wrongs here by talking to everybody that he could behind the scenes. And in just a matter of a few days, Gib will put out this tweet saying, "Boys, we officially got the W. Thanks for the support." And then show us a statement from the ISKA where they stated that Gib should have been declared the winner that night by unanimous decision, and that the mistaken resultant announcement came down to nothing more than a plain, simple human error. So with this victory, Gib went on to have his break and tease multiple times as to who he's going to fight next, with the most notable name thrown out there being Austin McBroom. While beefing with Austin, Gib would tweet out that there would be a boxing announcement for him on December 2nd, but nothing came out of it. After that date passed, people would of course ask Gib where the announcement was, and Gib would respond with this Twitter video captioned, "Where's the announcement? Ask Austin McBroom."
My last fight was about redemption in Miami, which I claimed after whooping Tayler Holder round after round. But my moment was stolen from social gloves. So my next fight is all about revenge. It's all about beating the shit out of the event organizers, aka Social Gloves, aka Austin McBroom.
After seeing this Twitter video in December, we didn't really hear anything more about a fight taking place between the two for several months, up until just now recently when both Gib and Austin have announced that a fight between them both will go down on the 30th of July of this year at the Crypto.com Arena in Los Angeles.
It's quite poetic, isn't it? It's been 1 year since I last entered the ring. July 30th, you'll see Gib versus Austin McBroom at the Staples Center. So make sure to buy your pay-per-views, make sure to buy your tickets, because a Gibbo Masterclass is coming. See you soon, McBroom.
And that's where we end off with Gib. Now, what has gone down with his former opponent Tayler Holder since June 12th? Well, like I previously mentioned, he made that IG story saying that he didn't think it should have been a draw, and also put up a tweet with the same sentiments. But when it came out that Gib was officially declared the winner a few days later, Tayler didn't really have anything to say about it. He just went on to regularly post on his TikTok and YouTube channel while also making music. Then in the month of August, Tayler will put out this tweet stating that he is now suing Austin McBroom for having fought in the event and not getting paid for it. Then when 2022 rolled around, one of the first things that happened with Tayler here was that he got unfollowed by a lot of his friends, with the most prominent one being Bryce Hall. Rumors would come out as to why he was being unfollowed, with the most popular one being that he was going to be accused of SA, and nobody wanted to be associated with him anymore. Bryce even just recently has some things to say on the matter, now stating that he isn't friends with Tayler at all, and if anything, he really dislikes the guy now.
What happened? Why is there beef? Do you think you guys could ever be friends again? Or?
Oh, I would never be friends with the shit that he's done. Fuck no.
Well, listen, you guys both box. Would you be down for a boxing match with Tayler?
I would never give him that.
Really? Not even in the ring? You wouldn't want to be down to settle in the ring?
I would see him in the street.
In the street?
I would never fucking give him that clout, that credibility, everything, nothing.
Considering that these two were pretty close with each other, even more so throughout the build-up to the YouTubers versus TikTokers event, seeing the animosity between the two has been an interesting turn to say the least. To this day, no one has come out to speak against Tayler Holder, and also Holder himself has been very adamant in saying that he has not done anything to the nature of the rumors being circulated. And that's basically where we end off with both Gib and Tayler Holder. Now from here, we finally move on to the main event. The main event saw Austin McBroom take on Bryce Hall, in which we would see go to the third round, with Austin taking home the victory by round 3 TKO. After the fight, Austin will give a small, heartfelt speech where he would thank the people around him and then also speak positively on Bryce.
You know, a lot of people want to keep having me talk shit about Bryce Hall, but I'm only going to lift him up like everybody else should. This man, Bryce Hall, is a strong-ass motherfucker, and I got to show him love, and everybody else on social media show him love. Because there's not too many fucking people in this world that would get in the ring and do what he did. Shout out to you, bro.
Bryce would also get interviewed in the ring after the fight, where he had this to say.
This is a crazy outcome, to say the least. Didn't think this many people wanted to see a TikToker box. But we're here. Honestly, that was fucking rigged. No, I'm kidding. I'm not a boxer. I'm not a fighter. I've never claimed to be a fighter.
Of course, that phrase right there at the end will go on to become a meme. But later on that night, Bryce will show the nicer and more grateful side of him when he will put out a set of tweets looking back at the event. The first of these tweets will congratulate Austin, as both of them put on a good show, and he will request to have a couple of shots with him. And sure enough, that ended up happening, as on the next morning, this photo will come up on Bryce's Instagram with the caption, "Took that shot like promised." Another set of tweets from Bryce will come for Deji, and letting him know that even though he lost, he still put on a good show. Bryce and Deji would then be seen meeting in public with each other in a very wholesome moment.
Deji, you the GOAT, bro. You the GOAT. Fuck what anybody else says, bro.
Yeah, hey, head up high, man. Head up high. Alright?
You the GOAT, Deji. Yo, bro, fuck Austin, bro. Fuck that shit. All that sound good.
And to finish off his set of tweets right after the event, Bryce would also put out these two right here that told us how proud he was of everybody that took part in it and how he was grateful for it having taken place. These tweets would then get followed by a video of his where he returned to uploading vlogs again just a few weeks after the fight.
Alright, I fucking lost. I'm not a boxer. I'm just gonna stick to my TikTok, YouTube shit.
And from there, Bryce just went on to post regularly on his YouTube channel and TikTok account. As for what was next in his boxing journey, he did have several people in mind, and he would make his options clear on his first vlog of 2022.
There's a few people that I would actually like to call out. Money Kicks, that's an easy W. Island Boys, both at the same time to at least make it fair. And then Deji, I'm not on steroids, man. They know I look good, but this is all natty. You can test me whenever you want, and I will 100% fight you this year if you win your next boxing match.
Out of all of these, the Island Boys would become the most feasible choice, as both parties will go on to have beef that is still continuing to this day, I believe. With months of constant trash talking online, nothing will really come out of their drama, but then Bryce uploaded a video in which he said that the Island Boys had finally accepted a fight offer between them.
The Island Boys finally accepted my offer to fight in a boxing match. 2v1. They realized very quickly how fast they were falling into irrelevance. I am not only a killer, I revive people's careers. Island Boys, I can't wait to fight ya.
Nothing more has come out after that set of announcements, so if anything were to happen, we would just have to wait and see. And of course, we saw how Bryce isn't friends with Tayler Holder anymore, so there's that too. And now we move on to the main man himself, Austin McBroom. And boy was Austin in for a huge roller coaster of a ride after this event. So obviously he won that night, and a lot of things seem to have been going well for Austin. He uploaded his video that documented that night onto his main Nate's family channel, where it showed footage of the event and the behind the scenes of it, and at the very end of the video we will be presented with this clip and visual.
Hey, all I gotta say is I appreciate everyone who came out. I just hope I put on a show. I love you guys. Peace.
Social Gloves' second boxing event was sort of be announced here with the Battle of the Platforms 2 moniker, but as many of us here now know, that event didn't really end up happening right away. And why was that the case, you may be asking? Well, the YouTubers versus TikTokers event wasn't as successful as Austin wanted it to be. Reports will come out stating that about 136,000 pay-per-views were sold. Now, while this number wasn't that bad, it wasn't near the around 500k that they were expecting. With this, claims started coming out that the Social Gloves company was going to go bankrupt, and that fighters on the card hadn't gotten paid as well, with the story gaining traction when it was revealed during a BFF's podcast episode.
But did the fighters not get paid?
Nope.
Nobody got paid.
Fighters didn't get paid. Artists didn't get paid. All the reports have said that no one's gotten paid.
No shit.
They've gotten their signing bonuses, which was like probably 100k, 50k, depending on the fighter. None of the other money's come through.
They must be saying they're getting paid because this would be
I
a
am
huge
95%
story.
sure that they filed for bankruptcy.
Then Tanamojo, who wasn't a fan of Austin before and after that podcast, would come out and tweet, not Austin McBroom owning most of Social Gloves and then everyone being surprised people aren't getting paid. This tweet right here would be interesting because this was one of the first cases where it was revealed that Austin McBroom was behind Social Gloves. Austin would respond to her tweets saying, not the most desperate human being speaking on shit she doesn't know about. Don't try to bring me or the event down to make you feel better about TanaCon. Every fighter, including myself, will be getting paid and a lawsuit is happening and it's not with Social Gloves, dum-dum. Social Gloves would then put out a statement in which they said that they were working tirelessly to get everything straight. Lawsuits will come out from some of these fighters against Austin McBroom, which I had already mentioned throughout this video, with plaintiffs being Tayler Holder, Nate Wyatt, Michael Lee, and even sort of Bryce Hall, with Bryce having been promised in a contract $5 million before the event took place. Bryce, of course, would get asked about the situation, in which he would vaguely respond with this.
So there's a lot of stuff going on about the Social Glove event, not the performers not getting paid. Have you heard anything from them?
Legally we're talking to them.
So while these aforementioned fighters, including Austin, reportedly hadn't gotten paid, we did get word that some of the fighters, Deji and Gib, did get their money, as they had apparently asked to receive their share before the event took place, according to what KSI said here on the Impulsive podcast.
I think Deji and Gib got paid. Good. Yeah. They made sure, like, pay us beforehand.
Wow. Oh, really?
Yeah, before the fight.
For the lawsuits against Austin, they wouldn't be coming from just the fighters either. Professional basketball player from the NBA, James Harden, had also invested money into the event, and when he saw that he wasn't really going to get it back with a return, he went to the way of the court. And Austin then again will get into another lawsuit, this time from the city of Beverly Hills. And this Beverly Hills lawsuit was a bit different here because this was surrounding something that Austin had done before the YouTubers vs TikTokers event took place. Weeks prior to the fight, Austin threw this huge get-together for the fans to hype up the event, and it basically turned into a whole parade, which then had the streets shut down around it. And now the city of Beverly Hills wanted Austin and another one of his associates to pay for it. So with all of these events going on, it eventually came out that Austin was behind Social Gloves, and that him and his team would be taking the big hits in the sense of finance and liability for the company. The biggest case that they had faced, which I haven't mentioned here yet, was the one of Social Gloves versus LiveX Live. So without getting into too much legal jargon here, the basics of this case was that we had these two companies, Social Gloves and LiveX Live. They both worked together in putting up the YouTubers vs TikTokers pay-per-view event. Social Gloves were the ones that put together the fight and promoted it, and LiveX Live were the ones that streamed the whole event on pay-per-view. LiveX Live knew how many of the pay-per-views had sold and were in charge of that money. Some of the money was then supposed to go to Social Gloves, and the people that had worked at the events would then get paid through that, including the fighters, and that is where the issues arise. According to Austin, none of the money got to him or Social Gloves from LiveX Live, which will then have Austin / Social Gloves sue LiveX Live to get it, which in result painted the LiveX Live company in a negative light to the public. LiveX Live then in return will go on to sue Austin McBroom and Simply Greatness Productions, which Simply Greatness Productions is the company that basically owns Social Gloves, for defamation, breach of contract, and fraud, among other things. And this lawsuit by LiveX Live against Austin will be for $100 million, also claiming that working with McBroom was chaos, and also stating that Austin was saved by LiveX Live numerous times throughout the planning of this event, and that the financial compensation promised to some of the fighters by SGP was senseless. The lawsuits between the two wouldn't get a big update up until February of this year, when it was reported that it would get settled by having LiveX Live pay Austin $3 million. And throughout all of this time, Austin was facing even more issues when reports came out that his $10 million plus mansion was being foreclosed on. Him and his wife Catherine denied those claims, but on October of 2021, Insider will report that the Ace family had lost ownership of the house, and just several weeks later in December, the Ace family will post a new video onto their channel giving a tour of a new house that they had just got, which even featured a boxing ring on the property. The Ace family would then later on get into a bit more controversy when they had announced this new event called Ace Fest, which is basically what the name implies, a festival with the Ace family as hosts essentially. It's gotten criticism for stuff like the concept of the idea, the price of the tickets, them reportedly lying about the ticket sales, among other things. But with all of those controversies and all of those lawsuits in the background, Austin still had one thing on his mind: who would be his next boxing opponent? At first, he set his sights on KSI.
Hey, I'm down for any smoke, but I definitely want KSI next. He knows he has respect for me. He knows I'm competition. He needs to work on his hands. He needs to work on boxing, because if you take a look at his first fight against Logan compared to my first fight, he's nowhere near the fighter that I am. That's just facts.
The trash talking would happen, and KSI would acknowledge it to being a possibility, but nothing official would come out for a fight between the two. On the other hand, someone that had been eyeing Austin McBroom, and I had talked about it earlier in this video, was Gib. So we already went over as to why these two are beefing when we talked about them during the Give portion of this video. It doesn't make sense to go over it again, but as was previously mentioned, a Give versus Austin McBroom boxing match is set to take place on July 30th of this year at the Crypto.com arena, with Social Gloves taking part in it. And while Austin was promoting it on his social medias, he put out this long statement titled "Dear YouTubers vs TikTokers event," where he looked back at the event, shouted out James Harden, and also stated that the fighters have now gotten paid for the most part, and also went on to say the same thing in a TMZ Sports interview.
This time around, we're working with people who've been doing this for a while, have a new team, new streaming partner. Everything is new, guys that are really experienced. Everything in the past is put behind us, no lawsuits. Fighters are paid, and we're ready to do this thing the right way and put on a show how it was supposed to be put on the first time around.
And yeah, that's pretty much where we're at with everybody that fought at the YouTubers vs TikTokers pay-per-view events last year. I hope you all enjoyed this video, and I will see you in another one.